Hi, homeschoolers. I'm Heather, and welcome to another Homeschool Live presented by the Old Schoolhouse. Today, I'll be interviewing Nadim of CTC Math. Both of us would really appreciate it if you could just take a minute right now and share this on your timeline, get it out there to any homeschooling friends, especially any ones that you know might struggle with teaching math or have any children that struggle with math. So if you could get that out there and let them know that we are live right now. Also, please feel free to comment, leave questions, and like this post as well. And now I'm really looking forward to introducing you to Nadim. You may have seen him before. We love CTC Math here at the company, and we're really excited about this interview. He has been working with CTC Math for over 8 years. He has a college degree in math and economics. He's been married for 5 years, and he and his wife have 3 children. And he has an enormous passion for homeschooling and a great admiration for homeschooling parents. Hi, Nadim. Thank you for joining us. So good to have you again.
Hey, Heather. Love being with you guys. This is exciting.
So I just want to let all our viewers know that CTC Math is based in Australia. So Nadim, he graciously woke up bright and early before the sun rose to join us today. So we just really appreciate you being here and sharing about CTC Math with us this morning.
No problems. No problems at all.
So I would love to know why Patrick Murray, he's the one who started the company, correct? Why did he start CTC Math?
That's a great question. I think Pat has a real enthusiasm for helping children. There's a great ability to teach math, and he's a great teacher. And he realized that early on, and he just wanted to have a real impact on the ability for these children to understand math. And I guess that's where it all started. That's how it all became. That's how he became a teacher, and then it sort of molded from there and became CTC Math.
So he's the one that you hear for those who have had experience with CTC Math, whether you checked out the free trial already or maybe you've had your child experience a year or 2 of it, you know that the lessons have videos with an actual instructor teaching in the background where you can hear their voice. He's the one that you hear, right?
Correct. Pat Murray is the voice behind the program. He believes math doesn't have to be difficult, especially when a child starts to build their confidence, starts to get going. It becomes a whole lot easier.
That's really great because I think math can be really intimidating for both parents and students because they just don't think they can do it. And so they'll shut down and just don't know where to begin. So having him present it in a way that's just like bite-sized little lessons that are just pretty easy and make it easier for the child, and it's not too scary for them.
For sure. All our video tutorials are sort of short, concise, to the point. Stop and rewind, learn at your own pace. Really does help.
I know that our crew has reviewed CTC Math, and I was reading through one, and this one mom, she loved it. Excuse me. Sorry. And sorry. I am so sorry.
You're okay.
She was saying how she just loved how she loved how the lessons were so short. I am so sorry. My throat is really dry. Okay, let's try this again. She loved how the lessons were so short. And the child was so surprised because it wasn't like he was spending an hour a day having to do math like he was so used to. And so he actually got through the entire year course way quicker than any other program because he just kept wanting to do more and more. It wasn't too intimidating for him. And he just loved the benchmarks where he was able to say, you know, I accomplished this. And it just worked really well for him.
Love hearing stories about that.
I'm so sorry about that. I should have had a glass of water with me here. So I would love to know how long.
Through the screen?
Thank you. I might take that coffee too, actually.
Finished.
Oh, you beat me to it. So I would love to know, how long has CTC Math been in business?
Great question. So in the US, we've been in business for about 9 years, but before that, we obviously originated and started in Australia. And we've been in business for over 30 years, I would say 32, 33. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So there's a lot of experience behind what you offer. I'm sure that what you started with isn't where you are now. You've been able to add on to the program.
Correct. A ton of experience. And even within the 9 years within the US, the program has developed and changed. The philosophy, the structure of the program has remained the same. The video tutorials with the support questions afterwards. But we've built a ton of changes, such as the weekly revision tasks, the ability. One of the early changes that we introduced was the ability to set tasks. Things like the question bank wizard is something that's new and recent. We have an exciting new change coming up. I'm super excited about it. It's all based on feedback. So I can't say much about it, but a few, when I say a few, about 10% of current users lucky families will get a chance to sort of review it and give it a go and tell us what they think, and then we'll of course we'll announce it and roll it out to everyone.
And I think parents appreciate that, because when they, see something that maybe doesn't work for them, and the company listens, it really encourages them to keep using that product, because they know that their voice is being heard.
For sure. And you have to, you can't be static. You can't be the same program textbooks don't really age, even though if you use a certain font or a certain style, it might. Online does. And sometimes you're forced. I know originally our program was in Flash. Flash, for those who don't know, basically became dead at the start of this year. So it was a major undertaking, which you couldn't see. The end user, the children, the parents couldn't see the changes. But a lot of work goes into switching to HTML5.
Wow. So how long have you personally been working with CTC Math?
I've been with the company for about 8 to 9 years now. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So pretty much as long as it's been in the States.
9 years, correct, yes. Yes.
And what is your background?
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, my first project was getting CTC Math started in the US. So
okay.
It's been sort of my pet, so to speak. I've been there from the beginning, and I've seen it grow. My background is, so in university, I originally started doing actuarial studies. It's basically risk management with a lot of mathematics. Actuaries help to assess things like, I help assess risk management, and they work generally for insurance companies in calculating premiums, or calculating the programs that then calculate premiums. After about 1.5 years, I realized that wasn't for me. I switched to economics. I was doing a double degree, so I just transitioned over to the economics and changed to math. I had a real entrepreneurial flair, so I worked for an e-commerce site for 12 months, looking after their online store. And I knew Pat Murray prior to that. While I was at university, I was helping draft some of the primary math questions at the time he was developing the primary program. There was just the high school component. And I gained a bit of experience with marketing and e-commerce. And after a year working there, I really found that my job wasn't very fulfilling. With CTC Math, you're making a positive impact on the world. Something good is coming out of it. So it was a real good feeling working for the company, and that made it all the more better, all the more exciting.
And I think that's an encouragement to parents who maybe have a student who is a math genius, a math whiz, just has that bent, and because there really are so many different occupations out there, and you just never know how things are going to change, how technology is going to change. When you're going to college, you probably never dreamed that this is where you would be, but I think so much has changed, and now God's able to use you in this way to help so many people. So I think that's so awesome. And I think about people that I know in college who are math majors. They've designed and developed apps and have gone so far, which you never knew would have been possible back when we were in college. So yeah, it's definitely a career to consider pursuing if that's where your child is.
For sure.
So I would love if you could explain how CTC Math works. A parent signs up. What happens next?
Okay, great question. So parent signs up. They register their children. They create some student accounts. The children then log in and they have access to all lessons from all grades. There's no restrictions whatsoever. So it all depends on the student and the family at that moment. Do they need to go back and review some earlier concepts? Are they switching from another curriculum? Do they need to plug in some gaps? So we do have some diagnostic tests that will help assess where the children are at. But otherwise, if they know which grade level they're going to work in, they can just click into that grade level, start from the first lesson, watch the video tutorial, work on the interactive questions, all the worksheets afterwards.
Okay.
The interactive questions are adaptive, which are fantastic. So they sort of, student doing really well, difficulty level goes up. Students are struggling, difficulty level drops. Students don't see any of this or know that this is happening in the background. So it's really intuitive.
That's incredible. That's really good. And so, but I do like that there is the option for the print. So there are worksheets that you can print out if you'd want to.
Correct. And they're in various formats. But one thing that we have is the weekly revision set, which is great. It's like a 2 to 4 pager of, and we set it once a week, split up into 2 semesters, and it reviews prior work. So semester 1 will review the previous year. Semester 2 will review a little bit of the previous year plus the start of the first half. We also have the question bank wizard where parents can go in and create custom worksheets.
Oh, really?
Based on any number of lessons that they want. It's a fantastic tool. It's completely optional.
That is really cool, because if you have a child that's struggling with division, you can go in there, right? I mean, you can do anything. If you multiplication worksheet or division, whatever they're struggling with. I lost your sound.
Correct. You can. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
You can go in and just look at division, or just multiplication, or a bit of both, and you can adjust difficulty level. You can set the worksheet based on a timer. Well, there's no timer that appears because it's a worksheet, of course. But if you want the kids only working for 20 minutes, then it will suggest the number of questions.
Okay.
So you can pick the number of questions based on an approximate time. You can, it's fantastic. There's
incredible.
There's a video in our program on our website. If you click contact us or support in the top right-hand corner, then there's some user guide videos on how to use the program. There's one on Question Bank Wizard. It'll show you. It's pretty cool.
Wow. I had no idea, because there, when you go to the site, you see the video lessons, you see that there's the questions that they can answer. And I thought that was all it was. But this puts a lot of the education into the hands of the parents also. So they are a part of it too. It's not just sitting the kid down in front of a computer and that's it. They can help monitor or the child's math learning. So I think that's awesome.
For sure. I always say that CTC Math is like a toolkit. We give you all the tools. It's how you want to use them. They're all there for you. It's all completely optional. You know your child best. If this is going to be your full curriculum, a supplement to back up what you're doing, it's up to you. So you can use CTC Math however you like, however you need. You can pull out the tool that will help in that moment.
Yeah, that's awesome. I would love to know what grades. So CTC Math is specific for the US, and you have other programs for other parts of the world. So if an American student uses it, it's going to be like kindergarten. Is it kindergarten through 12th grade according to like our, I don't know if our grades are different than yours, but so are the concepts American based? Does that make sense?
Correct. Yeah. So that is correct. K to 12, and it is different in the US. I guess if I give you the example of Australia, so in 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th grade, let's look at 9th and 10th grade, for instance. A student will do a little bit of algebra, a little bit of trigonometry, a little bit of geometry, and pre-calculus will start to be introduced in 10th grade, depending on 11th grade, depending on their ability, generally 11th grade. But it's all sort of meshed in, packaged, and into one sort of course for each grade level. Okay. So we found that in the US, it's very course orientated. Yes. So we're K to 12 and we go up to, but we do include calculus, some college math calculus.
Okay.
So obviously that's a big difference, where a student will just focus on algebra 1 or algebra 2 and whatnot. But it's all there. We have trigonometry, algebra 1, algebra 2, pre-calc, calc.
Wow. That's awesome that you include that in there also. So how can parents monitor their children's progress while they're using CTC Math?
Cool. So we have some really in-depth reporting. Within the parents sort of portal, the parents area, the parents have their own dashboard. Okay. There's various reports, but I'll start with the detailed report. I think that's a great one. So detailed report outlines how the student performed in a specific lesson. So number of attempts, highest score, their average, and it goes into that sort of detail. Then we have a summary report, which is a great snapshot, particularly if you want to take a look at a grade level. So if you want to have a look at 4th grade, and it will have a course average, how many of the lessons within 4th grade have been completed. It'll have a topic average, and it's just a fantastic one-page snapshot of their overall progress. Then we have like really detailed reports, which is a timeline report, which can be downloaded as an Excel spreadsheet. Okay. And this shows when the student logged in, how long they were logged in for, what lesson they viewed, how long they viewed it for, what lessons they clicked on to attempt the questions.
That's really good because, a lot of parents, they want to know that those detailed information that, they're actually doing their work. So that's really good. We have a question. Is access only to the US version? Can you access a non-US curriculum?
Yeah, so our curriculum is all around the world. We have people using our curriculum all around the world, but we have the Australian curriculum, we have the UK curriculum, New Zealand, the US, of course, South Africa. There's a few more there, and you can pick your curriculum depending on where you are. The best thing would be to get in touch with us. Send us an email, info at ctcmath.com. Just tell us where you're from, and we can switch you over.
Awesome.
Or make recommendations on the best. So, for instance, we don't have a Canadian curriculum, but most of our Canadian customers like to use the US version. Because in the US version, actually, we cover imperial and metric system.
Okay.
And it's optional. You don't have to cover both as well for the parents. They can do one or the other or both.
Okay, that's really good. That's good to know. So how many families would you say in the US are using CTC Math?
Wow. I think the number would be about 52,000.
Wow.
It's very close to that. Certainly it's very close to that. About 52,000 families, yeah.
And do you happen to know about how many Canadians?
Yeah, the Canadians would be about 1,000.
Okay.
From that, yep.
Okay, Crystal, she appreciated you answering her question about, if you can access only the US version or other versions. She said that was my big concern. So thank you for answering her question.
No problem. Sorry, I should have.
So I would love to know how CTC Math can help homeschoolers specifically.
Great. Well, I think it really is a homeschooling tool. We in Australia have nearly all homeschoolers using the equivalent of our Australian program, and we realized that homeschoolers love this program, and that was one of the big motivating factors into going into the US. We knew that there was a massive homeschool community there, and we could have a real impact. I'm going to repeat myself a little bit, but I think the toolkit and the flexibility, I think there's other things as well, which makes it really easy and really convenient, such as our family program. There's no limit on the number of students. So
Wow.
it's access to all your children, which makes it really affordable for homeschooling families and really easy.
So it's one price for the whole family.
Correct.
Wow.
One price, full family. The access to all levels from all grades, I think, is very powerful and very important for homeschooling families. And frankly, I'm not sure why other programs don't do it, especially the online ones. It can be difficult when switching from one curriculum to another. And we know how important the foundation is in math and building from that. So if there's any prior concepts that need to be addressed or covered, parents need the ability to cover that. They need that material. The short, sharp lesson take away the heavy burden of having to teach math. And that is a real cause of frustration, I think, in a day-to-day, in a homeschooling day-to-day, especially when in the older grade levels.
Yeah.
So we do that heavy lifting. We do all the teaching. And then there's the other things like that I mentioned: the question bank wizard, the weekly revision tasks, the diagnostic test, the ability to set tasks, the weekly reporting, the in-dash reporting. But above all that, I think we really try to understand homeschoolers, and we really try to, well, Pat homeschool his children so he can relate. We have a 12-month money-back guarantee. We don't want any family to feel like that they've wasted their money on a curriculum or this didn't work for their child.
Yeah.
And you have to go out and buy another one.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we get homeschooled.
And I mean, the price is pretty incredible because, if I'm buying a math curriculum for each student, I have 5 kids, each one, several $100s per year. I mean, it can get to be that price. So I'm saying for me, not for CTC Math, it's much more affordable, and you offer so much. I mean, I think a lot of parents don't want to switch curriculum. Sometimes they get into the groove of one, like you said, because one will build on the other with going from one grade to another. And so they're afraid to switch curriculums because they're afraid their child will be behind. So you address that. And I think that is awesome because, like you said, they can go and work on previous concepts if they hadn't nailed those down. So I love it. I think what you're doing for homeschoolers is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So if you could give homeschooling families one piece of advice right now, what would that be?
Perseverance. I think perseverance. I love how homeschoolers really embrace their children's education. I believe that parents, whether they send their children to school or homeschool, or whatever schooling choice they come up with, they're the primary educators. They have to be the ones that take control of the education of their children. And you're doing it in a very real and practical way when homeschooling. And I know it can be difficult, and I know there's going to be days of frustration, but I also know with those frustration and possibly with those tears that there's a lot of joy when it does, and it will come together and it clicks. And so I'm big on perseverance, I think. Perseverance and keep going, keep fighting the good battle. I like to think of it as the good battle. And yeah,
Well, that's really encouraging. Thank you. I'm sure her moms out there and dads appreciate that. So we have a question from Patty. How can CTC Math help autistic students?
Yeah, another great question. So each child is unique and has their own ways of understanding and learning. And I think for autistic students and children, CTC Maths learn at your own pace really helps. The voice is what actually a lot of feedback that we've gotten because of the Australian accent. Pat's voice is really soothing, very soothing. He has a great voice. He has like a radio voice. So I think that is a natural attraction, or certainly keep the students engaged. And the short, concise video tutorials where it doesn't go on. I mean, what takes other teachers 15, 20 minutes to explain, Pat does in 3 to 4 minutes. So a lot of the feedback that we get back is that that's great, that's engaging, and that really, really does help. But I would suggest give it a go because each child is unique. Do the free trial. We also have the money back guarantee, so there's no risk.
Yeah.
But it's the video tutorial. We also have other little cool features like, and this might not apply to Patty's child, but there's a speaker icon for all the questions, which is great for young learners. And the question is read out to them, so they don't actually have to be able to read.
That is really good. I'm glad you brought that up because I think that will help a lot of parents. Wow, that's really good.
So my 4.5-year-old who will be kindergarten grade level next year, she dumps in and does a little bit of CTC Math, and she obviously can't read. And so she clicks on the question icon, and you know, these kids these days, they use the phones and the computers better than we do. It's really scary, actually. How quickly they pick it up. But she clicks the question icon, questions read out, and she's on her way.
That's great. That's so good to know. I love that. Because I remember when I first started homeschooling with my younger ones, I would get very, I didn't realize how much time I would have to put into helping my child with the online program. There's definitely a learning curve with that, but this sounds like you've thought that through and made it very simple for the parents. So that's great. So the child, can they use this? Is there an app that you would have to download if you want to use it on a phone or device, or is it just you just go to a website?
So app works are in the background. It won't be during the 2021-2022 schooling year, possibly the start of the 2022 schooling year. We're about maybe 15 months away from that.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean you can't use it on your. I should have started with yes, you can use it on your tablet. Yes, you can use it on your phone. You just need an internet connection and a browser.
Okay.
So it just works straight through the browser, and it's mobile friendly.
All right. Well, that's good to know. So it can work on any device.
That's right. But an app will take it basically offline, so you won't need an internet connection.
Okay. All right. Very good. So for our viewers right now who want to learn more about CTC Math, where should they go?
Our website's probably a great place to start. www.ctcmath.com. There's a ton of information there. But if you do have any questions, please pick up the phone, give us a call. We do have a call center in the US. They answer basic FAQs. Anything else is transferred to our Australian office. You'll get a call from one of the team in Australia, and they'll be able to help. You can also email us, info@ctcmath.com. We're very active on social media. We have a CTC Math Facebook page. We also have a great parents group. It's a closed group.
Okay.
Anyone using CTC Math, I encourage you to jump into that Facebook group. It is fantastic. There's a lot of conversation that goes on in there.
Great. Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day, early morning, to join us. Thank you. And thank you, viewers, for joining us for another Homeschool Live. Right now, we're in the middle of the Get Outside and Homeschool sale at schoolhouseteachers.com. So if you head over there, you can check out more details about that. If you're interested in one of our magazines, you can visit grabissue.com and pick one up there. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Really